year minutes have all been posted on the website previous. So everybody has access to all of those. And before we get started, I would just like to take one moment to think about all of our friends who are no longer with us today. So just one moment, please. Okay, thank you. So my job today is to keep us on time. I hope we all learned something. I hope everybody comes away with a better feeling of what it is we're doing here at the Grand National, how we're moving forward. But for those who know me, I do try to keep us on time as much as possible. So with that said, those are the opening remarks for today. And I'm going to turn it over to Dan Hazlitt and Matt Shiner, who are running things behind the scenes for me. So Dan and Matt, you're on.
Okay, thank you. I just have a few things to say about Zoom and how we're doing things today, and because I'll be kind of the person in the background doing it, and then the rest will be Matt. So you are all muted, and that's just so that we can keep the chatter down. If you want to talk, if you have a question at the appropriate time, the best way to do it is if you click on the participant button, you should see the ability to raise a hand. What that will do is it will move you to the top of the participants list for me, and I can open that up. The other way to do that is to sort of wave your hand physically, but I can only see so many people. So that's the way we will do that. We've had a few people ask to change names to their curling club. So you can some people can do that by going to the participants tab, finding themselves, clicking more, and you can rename yourself. You should be able to rename yourself. But if you're using a work account like I am, you'd have to log on to the work website and change it there. So I think that's all I have to say.
And Matt, you just want to comment on the documents we'll be sharing?
Yeah, so first I'll say that while Dan is monitoring the hand raising, I'll be monitoring the chat. So if you have a question or a comment that you would like to make known, but you're maybe a little shy, don't want to speak up, you feel free to type it into the chat, and I will be monitoring that, and I can speak on your behalf or possibly even just reply if it's a quick question that just needs a quick answer. So as you can all see on the screen, we have the agenda currently. I will be putting up documents throughout the meeting as we go. If anybody has any questions or if we need to scroll the screen, I'll be talking directly with the speaker that is presenting those documents. So again, feel free to type into the chat if you have any questions about the documents. All the documents being shown on the screen today are on the GNCC website for you to download and view at your own pace. So feel free to do that on your own. I will just pull that up really quickly just to show you. So this is the website. You can see all of the various documents are there for your download. Charlie, I think that's it for me.
Okay. Much thanks to Dan and Matt for helping us on the technology side of this. Anybody who knows me well knows that I'm not a technology person, so thank you very, very much. Okay, so housekeeping items. This morning, I need to appoint a parliamentarian. Jay Flanders, do you accept?
I accept, thank you.
Thank you. Determination of quorum. Instead of going through roll call, Jay, do we have we met quorum?
We have met quorum. I'm going to go through one more time because people keep coming in, but we are definitely over quorum. I think we're now at 28 clubs that I've identified. Some of the names I got to double check, but we're there.
Okay, thank you. As I said, last year's minutes have been posted to the website. They've been posted for a week now. So I would like to ask Dorothy Roach to make a motion for approval of last year's minutes.
I would like to make a motion that we waive the reading of last year's minutes and improve the minutes as posted on the GNCC website.
Jay, could I have
Second.
any discussion on the motion of accepting last year's minutes or any corrections? Dan or Matt, any chatter coming in on that?
I'm not seeing any hands up.
Okay, great. All in favor? I'm sorry, we'll do this by a voice vote. So Dan, if you could unmute everybody and just for
Okay, everybody has the ability to unmute themselves, so you can, anyone who's voting can unmute themselves. And I would just give that 15 seconds or so, Charlie, and then call for the vote. See how that works.
Charlie's muted himself.
Just a really quick procedural thing, Charlie. As a quick reminder, only the GNCC reps are to be voting. So if you are not the rep and you're just here to participate in the meeting, you should not be speaking for the vote.
okay. Thanks, Dan. I don't know what the hell I hit, but somehow. Once again, proving my point. Okay, voice vote to approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you very much. So we're 3 minutes ahead of schedule. Peter Lyons, please go ahead with the treasury and presentation of the budget.
Thank you, Charlie. I ask that the various reports that you will normally receive as handouts at the annual meeting be posted on the website. I hope that everyone has had a chance to review them. You should have a 2019-20 budget versus actual report, an asset sheet, and a budget for fiscal year 2020-21. I will come back to these reports later. The new management format presented some difficulties in generating this year's report because in some cases we are comparing apples and oranges. We added several new line items to the budget for instruction, new GNCC events, and media. Funding for these line items came from increased membership and a surplus carryover from last fiscal year. Since the last annual meeting, we have welcomed 4 new clubs into the GNCC. Curling Club at Penn State, largely a collegiate club. Nittany Valley, predominantly residents of State College who are not students. Loggerhead in Florida and Rocket City in Alabama, which literally took off like a rocket and has 110 members. They hosted their first Bonspiel, which was fully subscribed, and the arena manager, is talking about dedicated ice in his 5-year plan. Of the 18 clubs with increased membership, 14 had an increase of 10 members or more. 5 increased by more than 40 members. 19 clubs saw a decrease of membership. Only 5 of the 19 saw a decrease of 20 or more. And of that, only 1 lost more than 50. Once again, Julie Shanatree has done a fantastic job with our dues collection process and should be thanked for all of her hard work this past year. The first report is the 2019-20 budget versus actual, with notes explaining the differences. Except for the 3 dedicated funds, junior and the stipend for our reps to the USCA, all categories came in under budget. The annual disbursement to the dedicated funds is based on our adult membership, and the GNCC grew by 209 members over last year. 115 were in the adult category. U18 sent 3 teams to the Nationals, where we only had 2 teams budgeted to go to the juniors. In the USCA rep budget, Charlie attended the members' assembly, which was not in the budget. All other line items were under budget, resulting in a $13,442.94 surplus that was carried over to this fiscal year's budget. The second report is our asset sheet. fiscal year 2019-20, which compares the previous fiscal year with the one just closed. Although operating looks like a large amount of money, the GNCC will not have any further income until dues collection period starts in November for 2020-21 fiscal year. The operating account includes a $3,680.87 amount from the 150th anniversary celebration. I have asked the 150th committee to determine what they would like to do with this profit. All expenses for the 150th anniversary have been paid. The Memorial Trust has one outstanding loan that is being repaid on schedule. The Legacy Trust currently has two outstanding loans. The trustees are expecting a request from Pine Tree Curling Club in Portland, Maine. Our fixed assets are self-explanatory. The GNCC owns 40 sets of stones. Currently, there are 29 on lease to 9 different clubs. 11 sets have been returned because 4 clubs purchased their own stones. The GNCC trophies were last appraised in 2009. They should be reappraised for insurance purposes. I have not put money into the budget for this fiscal year because I am not sure who should be responsible for that cost. It is a topic for the next executive board. This should be done in the next fiscal year. Not all of our trophies have been appraised, only the most historical and valuable, those that cannot be replaced. The final report is the proposed budget of $109,500 for fiscal year 2020-21. The budget reflects reimbursement from the USCA for the 2018. Next screen, please. For the budget. Yeah, good, man. Thank you. The budget reflects reimbursement from the USCA for the 2018-19 season regional playdowns because payment was received after that fiscal year closed. The GNCC received payment for 2019-20 regional playdowns after the close of this fiscal year. That payment will be reflected in next fiscal year's budget. The budget reflects a surplus from last year because not all of our line items were utilized, all of the allotted funds available. Part of the surplus may be attributed to the shortening of the season due to COVID-19. Several requests for line item increases and several new line items generated by the new management format have been satisfied in this budget. McCafferty and Company conducted their 7th annual review of the GNCC last July and were completely satisfied with our operations, transparency, and redundancy in reporting. Stan Maxella's comment was that he wished more of his nonprofits were as well organized as the GNCC. They are currently reviewing our past fiscal year and preparing our 990 filings with the IRS and the state of New York. I am pleased to conclude this report by stating the GNCC is in sound financial standing. I am even more pleased to announce that we have not had a dues increase since 2013, and there is no proposed increase in our budget for this year. We will need a motion to accept and second before the voting on the proposed budget and discussion.
Okay, thank you, Peter. This is how I'd like to handle this. I would like to have a motion to accept the proposed budget. Once we have a second, then we can have any discussion and any questions. So Dan Machold, please.
Dan Machold, Schenectady. I would make a motion to approve the budget as presented.
Jay, could I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Here we go.
And again, everybody should be able to unmute themselves. If not, put your virtual hand up and I'll help you out. Not seeing any hands.
Okay, if there's no questions.
Nothing in the chat, Charlie.
Pardon?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay, great. I would just like to add one comment to something that I think is important to note, is that the 2021 season very well could present financial difficulties for clubs and our region and curling across the country. I want members to know that even though there's an increase in this budget, that this budget is the result of dues and monies that were already collected in this due cycle. As Peter said, all those dollars have been collected. So I think we should all feel very, very good about this budget that Peter has put together. Okay, so that's my one point of discussion. Dan or Matt, any other hands up or comments?
Nope.
Nothing in the chat.
Hearing that, again, a voice vote for reps and proxy holders. All in favor of the motion on the table to accept the proposed budget, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. The budget is approved. Thank you very much. Okay, moving right along, chair report. And we are 8 minutes ahead of schedule. Okay. I've been thinking really hard about what to report on this year. It was obviously a very difficult year. And I took a little different approach from what I reported on last year. So I've come up with 4 main topics I'd like to share with you all today. The first topic is what I've learned as the chair of the Grand National. What I think we got right in the big picture is my second topic. The third topic I have for you is where I went wrong and what I could have done better. And the fourth topic is planning in a world of uncertainty. So here we go. What I learned as the chair of the Grand National. The ethos of the Grand National is a culture of growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. You just don't know it yet. Not every state and region has this culture. And that was something that I had to learn over time. I just assumed across the country, every state and region did the same things we did. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, I really believe that the Grand National is the model organization across the US. Our size is both an asset and a challenge. The assets of our size is we offer programs that nobody else in this country can compete with. And here's a quick list. We have a no deductible property casualty insurance program for our member clubs. Our stone lease program that has 40 sets of rocks on the books, nobody comes even close to that. And it's that stone lease program that really funds all of our growth. I shouldn't say all of our growth, but is a major, major catalyst for the growth in the Grand National. We have 3 dedicated trust funds to support our clubs. One trust fund is a loan program for club equipment and infrastructure. One trust fund is to help clubs transition from arena clubs to dedicated clubs. And our third trust fund is a stipend program to support our junior and college athletes. And Peter shared with you the dollars in those programs. They are significant. We have a wonderful mentoring program that does everything from holding hands and starting a club to helping clubs get through today's pandemic. And we'll talk more about that later. We offered 2 junior camps, one in our northern regions and one in our southern regions. We offer club stipends and financial incentives to host our GNCC events. We offer athlete stipends for our athletes who move on to future events. And finally, we have a board that I really believe is the cream of the crop. We are all volunteers, and I would put this board up against any volunteer organization in the country, no matter the purpose. In fact, I would even put this board up against any paid staff. The board, not me, the board, the members of the board do not get enough credit for the time and effort that they put in. And I would ask, if you see folks who do serve, to please say thank you. I think those are our assets as an organization. But we do have challenges. Our geography is vast. And with different geographies come different cultures and different operational models. As I said before, I don't think anybody's cornered the market on good ideas. But we have the opportunity to learn from each other and adopt best practices, whether that's business models, ice making techniques, bigger bond spiel structures, or what have you. I think this is an opportunity where we could take a challenge and turn it into a real asset. But I leave you with one final word of caution as a challenge. Much too often recently, I've been hearing clubs unwilling to hold GNCC sponsored bond spiels for whatever reason. And I think that is very short-sighted. I would ask you to think really hard if you're approached or your club is approached to hold an event. As I said, we offer stipends, we offer, for the 5 and unders, the clubs keep all of the revenue. And I would ask you, if your club is approached, think about what those 5 and unders meant to you when you were first starting out. Those 5 and unders are really what put the golden handcuffs on our new members and keep them as lifelong members. So that's a challenge, I think, going forward. And I would ask you all to think about accepting that challenge if you or your club is so asked. And the last challenge is, we might not have always gotten it right from the board decision. But I want to assure you that wasn't from a lack of effort or from a lack of caring. Sometimes we just got it wrong. Okay, what I think we got in the next topic is what I think we got right in the big picture over the last couple of years. Well, I think we walked the talk regarding a culture of growth. Peter shared with you some numbers, but in the last 5 years, our membership has grown 48%. I take no credit for this. Our members get all the credit for this. But I think it's really, really important from the aspect of a culture of growth. We implemented the new management plan. And I think that new management plan sets us up very well, or this reorganization of how we're structured, I hope, for the next 150 years. We've increased the diversity of our board. I really believe we've increased the transparency. I think our electronic newsletter is something we really got right. We're reaching out to the membership much more frequently during the growing season, every other week, with timely information. We have a new, through the newsletter, we're able to communicate the bond spiel schedule. And we've gotten tremendous feedback on that newsletter. And we're doing it at a fraction of the cost of our old newspaper business. Jay Flanders gets a tremendous amount of credit on our newsletter. I mentioned our junior camps. We now have 2. The one up north at Bucks County has been sold out for the last couple of years. This year we instituted a new camp in our southern region at Triangle in North Carolina. While it hasn't sold out, we have decided to support that camp financially and will continue to support that camp financially because it's the right thing to do. Juniors are a very important aspect of our future growth, and it's our belief that we need to support that program. Ashley Abbott has done an amazing job with our junior camp, with our junior programs in general. Again, our website has had many improvements, and that's thanks to Dion War. Bench Guzman this year updated our GNCC rules and eligibility, and those are all posted on the website. We talked about our updated insurance policy, and that's thanks to Bob Hogan. Last year, we simplified the dues process, reducing the number of categories. That's thanks to Peter Lyons, Gwen, and Julie Chantry. I mentioned the Stone Lease program, second to none. We continue to increase the asset size of our 3 dedicated funds to continue to help support the growth of the organization. And maybe one of the things I'm most proud about over my time is I think we've continued to build on strong relationships across the country, both with our national governing body of USA Curling, but also other states and regions, and have really adopted that mentality of sharing best practices. Last, I want to say, I think we've done on day one, I said we would re-examine that this is the way we've always done it mentality. And I think those aspects I just listed show that we embrace that. This is the way we've always done it isn't good enough. Okay, things I got wrong. There were many. But the one I'm most disappointed about is last year I told you that a focus for this season that just completed was going to be the business of curling aspects. As I said last year, it's my belief that curling in this country has gone from crawling to walking. And if we want to take the next step to running, that we really need to re-examine how we think about curling in this country and this aspect of the business of curling. Well, Courtney would tell you that we had several conversations and talked about, instead of we discussed bringing some of the programs possibly to a video format. I hope that those thoughts might continue, especially in this post-COVID world where we've all seen how well technology can work, and those programs could be delivered at a fraction of the cost. But that's my blame for not doing enough. At the Members' Assembly, representatives from the World Curling Federation presented some wonderful topics on the business of curling. And it was my intention to bring Daryl L. from the WCF out to our annual meeting as our guest speaker. Well, things changed and we didn't have our usual format. That's on me again. But why I think this is such an important topic, as I said, this next season could be financially challenging. I think we're all going to need to readdress those aspects of re-examining all of our processes of how curling is operating in this country. So I would ask you all to keep thinking about, keep doing more, and again, keep re-examining that this is the way we've always done it mentality. Okay, my final topic is planning in a world of uncertainty. And this might be the reason why many of you tuned in today. For presidents and reps, we sent to you on Monday a notice of a project that our mentor committee posted on planning in a COVID world. Much thanks to Bob Hogan, Gwen, and Joel Leneker for their thoughts and work on this project. It was posted on our website this past Monday. We're going to spend some time on it now, and then there will be more about the program in our next newsletter that will be coming out in the next week or two. No one size fits all. We talked about our vast geography, but again, no one size fits all. We can't tell you what to do, and we don't have the magic answer. I think we can help you think about your decision-making process, and that was the purpose of the project that was posted. It's really in two sections. One section are a bunch of questions that we think clubs should be asking themselves. Can we reopen? How can we reopen? What are our communication processes if we reopen? And Joel Lineker gets a tremendous amount of credit for that part. The second part are a bunch of actions that clubs can take that we think are, again, sharing of best practices. And Bob and Gwen get tremendous amount of credit for that. The document's a living document. It's not written in stone. It will change. We don't know what tomorrow will look like. We hope that it'll be an aggregator and a place to share best ideas. In fact, last night I saw that the USCA posted their own document. While there's quite a bit of overlap in our thoughts and ideas, they did offer some things that I don't think we addressed earlier. Just like I think we addressed some things that might be outside their project. But I think this is a perfect example of how we can all be working together to move us from crawling to walking to running. So let's all share our best ideas on this topic moving forward. This upcoming season, nobody knows what tomorrow looks like. So I ask, please be patient and open-minded. Things are going to change, and things could change a lot. Take care of your current members, emotionally and perhaps financially if needed. Be proactive in reaching out to your current membership. It's a lot easier to keep a member than to find a member. Even in a culture of growth, which I think is so important and embedded here at the Grand National, the mantra must be safety first. We must follow state and local mandates. But when in doubt, I urge you to err on the side of caution. Tomorrow will be another day, and we'll always have another opportunity to play this wonderful game. We might not be getting to normal yet, but we will get there. Thank you. I'll take any questions. Dan or Matt?
No hands up. Oh, yes, Carl Thomas has his hand up.
Okay, Carl?
Yeah, I just would like to thank Charlie for all the work he's done over the last couple of years as a chair. He's done a wonderful job in my view, and we're transitioning over to bench, but we're losing a very strong person there.
Thank you, Carl.
Jennifer has her hand up from Nutmeg.
Jennifer, you're muted.
I'm you. I echo those comments. Hey, Charlie. And I want to particularly thank you for the reaching out across the country, as you say, the USA Curling and other clubs and regions. They've done an excellent job, and that's what's going to make USA Curling, not USA Curling the name, but curling across the United States is stronger, is all of us banding together, especially in this new era. So thank you. You've done a great job.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Gwen and Peter have their hand up.
Charlie, it was my honor and pleasure to serve as your advisor for the past 2 years. I know we didn't always agree on things, but we each gave each other things to think about. And I can't thank you enough for your leadership in this organization.
Thank you, Gwen. Dan, is that it?
That's it.
Great.
Charlie, in the chat, there's a couple of people that have said thank you, and there's also some discussion about the COVID response document that we put together, and there's a link in there as well for the USA Curling COVID
Great.
recommendations.
Okay. Last chance before moving on. Okay, we're 5 minutes ahead of schedule. Thank you. I'd like to turn it over to Greg Eisenhower, who will take our next section of nominations and elections. Greg?
There we go. Thank you, Charlie, and thank you everyone for being here today. I'd also like to echo those comments and thank Charlie for his, his terms as the chair and for really guiding us through this transition period as we move to a new structure in the GNCC. I think he did an excellent job. That being said, we've been tasked with finding not only his replacement, but with filling a number of spots on the GNCC board. So as our nominating committee consisted of myself, I'm from Boston Curling Club and Broomstones. Also was Gwen Crail-Lyons from Nashua Country Club and Granite Curling Club. We had Catherine Offinger from Cape Cod, Monica Lynn from Bucks County, and Bruce Black from Potomac. So I think we had a pretty good committee there who had a good breadth of knowledge around the GNCC, who were well-traveled and had gotten to know a lot of curlers throughout our GNCC. So their input was valuable. We met via, usually either by phone or through video chat over the course of the spring. And we had about 10 to 12 candidates' names put forward. We narrowed that list down to about 5 or 6 that we went forward and interviewed for the different positions. And out of that, we came up with 2 candidates to replace our outgoing directors. So that being said, we'll let you know what our nominating slate is. First of all, we'd like to nominate Charlie for the position of the retirement home. Thank you, Charlie. And for the position of chair to replace Charlie will be Benj Guzman from Broomstones Curling Club. For the position of vice chair, we nominate Bob Hogan, who previously served as a director on the board and who runs our insurance program. For the position of the GNCC rep to the USCA, we nominate Roger Rowlett. He'd be returning in this role. So he has served previously very well for the GNCC, and we feel he would continue to do so. Returning as a Class B director, we nominate Paul Valley from Mount Washington Valley in New Hampshire. Returning in as a Class B director, serving a second term, we nominate Matt Shiner from Ardsley and Long Island Curling Club. And then for our 2 open slots that we were replacing, both Bob Hogan, who we will be moving up to the vice chair position, and Mary Ann Vermeulen, who will be stepping aside from her duties. Like I said, we interviewed about 5 or 6 very qualified candidates, and we narrowed it down to 2 who we felt would really fill positions, had excellent credentials, very good background, a lot of enthusiasm for the position and for serving on the GNCC. To replace Bob Hogan as a director Class A, and as the club liaison, the committee nominates Kristen Conrad from the Charlotte Curling Club. And to replace Mary Ann Vermeulen as a director Class B, and as the director of over 21 national events, the nominating committee chose Joseph Rockenbach from the Potomac Curling Club. We have up on the website, there is a little bit of a summary of each one's backgrounds for Kristen and Joseph, if you want to get to know them a little bit better and read a little bit about them. But that is our slate. Can I hand that back to you, Charlie?
Okay, so Jay, I know I screwed this up a wee bit. Can you fix me?
Sorry,
Okay.
can I fix you?
Yes.
Well, I can get you back on track. So I think what we're looking for is an explanation of voting here that normally, if we're all in the same room, we would vote 1 position at a time, which takes not much time to do voice vote in a room. It's a little harder and a little more complicated on Zoom. So our goal would be first to take nominations from the nominating committee, which we did. We'll take a second on that, which Charlie will recognize me for and we'll do. And then we'll open up nominations from the floor. Anyone can nominate any GNCC member for any of the open positions. If there are contested elections, we will do those first. And if there are not, then or everybody left over, we'll do as a slate to make it go a little faster. Does that make sense? Nominations from the floor, contested elections, and then all the non-contested elections as a slate. Does that get you back on track, Charlie?
Yeah, so I believe we're going to have Greg just move the slate as described.
That works.
Okay, Greg?
Yep, I moved the slate as described. I present the
Okay.
slate to the GNCC board to vote.
Okay. Jay, a second?
I will second all the members of the slate, yes.
Okay, so now we're going to take nominations from the floor?
Correct.
Okay.
So traditionally in the GNCC, when we do nominations from the floor, we ask 3 times. So I'm going to do that to stay with tradition. So the first question is, are there any nominations from the floor? You can raise your hand, wave, whatever.
You better raise your hand in the group so we see you for sure.
Okay, yep. Hit the raise your hand button. Any response, Dan?
No.
So I'm going to ask again, is anyone like to nominate from the floor for any of the open positions? Still no response?
No response.
Okay. Third and final time. This is your last chance. If you would like to nominate somebody, raise your hand so we can recognize you.
No response.
Okay, Charlie. You got no contested. You can do 1 slate.
Okay, so do I have to have discussion or can I just call the question?
You should ask for discussion. It's polite.
Okay, is there any discussion on the slate as moved? Dan?
Nothing.
Okay, so I'd like to call the question. Again, GNCC reps and those holding proxies. All those in favor of approving the slate as moved, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you very much and congratulations to our new leadership team. Okay, moving on to new business. As I said, we only have 1 item of new business. Russell Frank would like to spend a few minutes to discuss a pilot program he'd like to start regarding ice quality. Russell?
Good morning. So to keep this short, for the last couple of years, it's been in the back of my mind that as hard and I guess I would say as much work as ice technicians put in trying to provide us with the best possible ice, that the system of training and supports we have for them probably could be improved. And so over the last year, I've kind of been trying to move this along a little bit. I've shared some ideas with USA Curling, and as a result of that, I was encouraged to maybe come back and think about trying to do something with the GNCC. So over the last 6 weeks, I've been meeting with 2 other ice technicians. All of us are level 2 certified. We've all done club ice. We've all served on numerous ice teams, either US Nationals or Grand Slam events. And we're all retired with plenty of time to work on a project. And so we thought about starting a curling ice quality improvement project where we could pilot some ideas, we could gather some information and document some of the needs that clubs might have. And then, 2 or 3 years from now, watch that fade into the sunset while some of those ideas get picked up both by USA Curling or some of the regional associations. And so basically the ask we have is we'd really like to partner with the GNCC and have a working relationship with the GNCC and the clubs. So I've had a little bit of feedback from one arena club that they seem to be interested in. The two people I'm working with are Pete Dellapella, who I knew from doing ice and broomstones, who's now down at Triangle, I think, in North Carolina, and with Kevin Masden, who was on the USA ice team and has been very involved in supporting arena clubs. And so what we're looking for, we don't really need any resources. We're just looking to be able to have a working relationship with clubs. We'll need some participation from clubs, and see if we can come up with some ideas and show that they work to help improve the quality of club curling ice. And that's about it. Our next step, we thought, was we would send an email out to the arena clubs and to the dedicated clubs, sharing what we're thinking we want to do over the next year. We think we could probably offer some trainings, and then we think we could start to explore some other support mechanisms, whether it's something like they have in the Ontario Curling Association, with ice techs being available to provide support individually to clubs, or whether we could do like a mentoring program, or there may be some other ideas that clubs may have that we could explore. So I would say that's it for me.
Thank you, Russell. And Russell put together a one-pager on the project program. It is on our website under the annual meeting, and it does have contact information for Russell. So I think it's a great idea, and I wish you all the best. Russell, I wish you the best of luck, and I know I would truly appreciate continuing to play on better and better ice, no matter where we go. So thank you for taking up this charge.
Thank you.
Okay, we are ahead of schedule. Next on my agenda was a message from a new chair, but before I got to Benj, oh, sorry, Carl.
Try to unmute here. Just a note to the clubs. First off, Marianne Vermeulen has been working for many years as the background checker coordinator for all of the junior events and people on the board that need background investigations and coaches and officials. I want to thank her very much for her many years of service as that, and announce to the club that I have stupidly volunteered to take over that position. So Marianne, thank you. And for the clubs, if you have any questions as you need investigations done, please contact me. I probably won't give you any good answers initially because I have no idea what I'm doing. But as I figure it out, I'll help you along.
Charlie, there's one comment in the chat. Russell, they're suggesting that we should not forget helping clubs implement proper stone maintenance as part of the ice program.
Great to hear.
We have a question from Scott.
Howdy. One of the things that came up with this whole COVID and some of us doing the broom stacking events that were going on, we were talking about GNCC having some challenges with regional and how important the under fives are. And it was brought up a couple times as maybe it should be a rotating where the under fives are physically located. Like there should always be one in the south, one in the north, one in the central, and then just rotate them. It's just something when we were talking, like we talked with Rocket City, we talked with Charlotte, we talked with Orlando a lot, Triangle too. And it's great that they're all in these different clubs, but maybe not having them all like in one region might not be a bad idea of splitting it up.
Okay, Scott, thanks for that comment. Yes, I think your comment is very rational. However, as I said in my remarks, finding clubs to host is becoming a bigger and bigger challenge. All 3 5 and unders were in the southern region this year because that's where we found clubs to host. So I think I agree with you in everything you said, but I think you're also proving my point that we can only go where clubs have said yes. So again, I would ask clubs to very much keep an open mind on hosting our GNCC events. Okay.
Mary Ann has her hand up, Charlie.
Yeah.
Hi, on that topic, as my last statement, as the outgoing director in charge of events leading to nationals, we do not have any club in the GNCC at this point in time that is willing to host either the men's and women's clubs playdowns or the mixed playdowns. So Joel Lineker is still looking for a location to host the mixed playdown, and Dave Bykowski is still looking for a club that's willing to host a men's and women's club playdowns. And so to that point, we're really having a lot of trouble getting clubs to commit to hold. Now, those events are not money makers, I understand that, but we are trying very hard to distribute these events throughout the region, and we need the region to say yes when we ask them to host an event. So it's an ongoing issue, and it seems to be getting more and more difficult because more and more clubs are filling up their own schedules with their own bonspiels, and they don't want to give up yet another weekend, particularly for events that maybe their members aren't even playing in. So we still need clubs to step up for those two events. The mix needs to happen in February. The clubs usually happen in December. And yeah, I know that nobody knows what they're doing with their schedules, but we are trying to get things on the schedule as if they will happen. Right now, we don't have locations for those two events.
Okay, thanks, Mary Ann. And I just want to clarify one thing that you said. Some of those events might not be money makers. The big money makers are obviously the 5 and unders, where clubs get to keep all the revenues. But for those events that do lead to nationals, one of the things we've been doing as an organization over time is we've been increasing our daily stipends to those clubs. It's on a per diem by number of sheets.
No, not by number of sheets.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. It's a per diem, and that number has increased over time as well. So again, please reconsider hosting GNCC events. Okay, Dan?
We have one more question from Ryan. Ryan Adamson. Ryan, it looks like you're unmuted. Okay, well, Herb has another question.
Okay.
Hi, thanks for hearing from me. I just want to also put in a plug for officiating in the GNCC. All of these events that we're trying to get clubs to host require officials. Now, for the past 18 months or so, Ken McPartland has been doing a great job lining up senior officials to try to get these events going, despite...
Hi, guys. This is from Women's Curling. We're an arena club in Southern New Jersey, and I am unmuted. Yes. Can you not hear me? Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryan,
Can you hear me?
Ryan, you just interrupted Herb. Can you wait a second for Herb to finish?
Thank you, Dan. I won't take long. In any case, we do need, first of all, Ken McPartland should be acknowledged for the work he's done over the last year, or actually several years, in guiding the GNCC officiating. But also, I want to put in a plug for all the clubs in the GNCC to encourage members to go to training sessions to become level 1 and level 2 officials and participate in events. They're the mainstay of our officiating. We need timers almost at just about every event, and the events just don't go well without these officials. So I put in my plug, and I hope they will be clubs will continue to encourage and perhaps underwrite the cost for taking these courses. Thank you.
Okay, Dan.
Okay, Ryan, if you're available, you should be able to unmute yourself.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're a little garbly, but we can hear you.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit of anyway.
Okay, Ryan, could you try turning off your video?
What I'm trying to say is that I think arena clubs would be more willing. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. I think that arena clubs would be more likely to host these types of events, the 3-4 day bonspiels, playdowns, things of that nature. But ice cost definitely becomes a hindrance to doing that. I know Ocean State had the GNCC arena or GNCC national or GNCC arena championship last year, and I believe it took them 2 days of ice prep, 2 or 3 days of ice prep prior, and I think it was a fairly large expense for them to host that event. Is there any ideas regarding like a fund for ice costs to host, for arena clubs to host these events? Did we get that?
So Ryan, thanks for your question. Some of our, a lot of our events do have dollars in the budget, but not substantial enough dollars for arena clubs to offset the different financial model. So when it comes to most GNCC events, I think we're really looking at dedicated facilities because of the cost structure that you just mentioned. Thank you. Dan, questions?
Gwen and Peter have their hand up.
It's actually Gwen. Other than me, I think Mary Ann Vermeulen has served on the board for the GNCC longer than anyone, and we all owe her a huge amount of thanks because the work she does is so important to all of our events, and she doesn't take much credit for it, but it is a lot of hard work. So thank you, Mary Ann.
And you're now paroled.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gwen. All right, Dan, I want to take just 2 more questions in the queue because this is exactly why we asked for new business to be presented beforehand.
Okay, Dion. There, you should be able to unmute yourself now, Dion, if you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I just wanted to take a second to address some of the 5 and under. I'm the Francis Dykes chair for the GNCC, and I'm the outgoing chair. I'm going to be looking for someone to take this on after I've done it for many, many years. All 3 in the South last year, there wasn't really any coordination between the organizers of those 3 events, so we were probably all just as surprised as anyone else that they were all in the South. Charlotte was actually scheduled to host it the year before, so that would have helped a little bit, but they had a conflict, so they had to switch with another club. And this year, I'm hoping to, I was hoping to get either Bucks County or Nashua to consider hosting because we need to get all of our 4-sheet dedicated clubs in the rotation. So, you know, so I just want to just point out the fact that it wasn't like on purpose that they were all in the South. As Charlie mentioned, it just worked out that way. But also when they're all in the North all the time, I never hear these same complaints from the Southern arena clubs. I just want to point that out.
That's a great point. Thank you, Dion. Dan, I'll take one more.
You don't have one more. That's all the hands that were up.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. Before we get to closing this out, I received a message that Courtney would like to say a few words. Courtney?
Hey, good morning, everybody. And I just wanted to say really quick, thanks for inviting me, Charlie. And certainly, as you had mentioned, it's been a pleasure getting to know you over this last number of months, years. And I greatly appreciate all of your dedicated service to the GNCC and certainly the expansion of curling across the country. For some of you who may not know this, I have engaged Charlie in a few national activities as well that he did not mention. So he is not going far from engaging with the USCA board for a while. So I continue to look forward to working with him, and certainly looking forward to working with Benj and continuing our relationship. So Benj, welcome, and I'm certain that we will have a great relationship moving forward as well. But nice to see everybody, and have a great day.
Okay.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you very much, Courtney. Okay, so we are ahead of schedule. I just had a few closing remarks, if I could, before turning it over to Benj for any message he has. So to the members, it's my sincere hope that we return to a world of normality sooner rather than later. This season, be patient, please. We don't know what tomorrow looks like. It's going to be fluid. It's going to be different. This is a wonderful game. Please don't ever forget that. And I want to tell you all that the GNCC is going to be in fantastic hands with Benj and his new team. To Benj, I ask, keep the culture alive. Keep thinking big. Keep re-examining the mentality of this is the way we've always done it. That's not good enough. You have a great team. Listen to them. And I wish you nothing but success. A couple of thank yous. To all the past leaders of the GNCC, this is a very well-oiled machine. You guys deserve the credit for that. The board, I'll say it again, you deserve all the credit, and we all owe you a gigantic thank you. Special thanks to Joel Leneker, who served as our USCA, one of our USCA directors, who will be leaving that post. Special thanks to Mary Ann for all she's done in our events that lead to nationals, and to Jennifer Bragg, our secretary. You all are leaving big shoes to fill, and your contributions over the years are very much appreciated. And finally, to my wife, Kathy, who for some unknown reason continues to put up with me, but she supported me every step. And my goal is to support her this year as she continues to lead the Schenectady Club on a local basis. So it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Benj, it's all yours.
Thanks, Charlie. I know I'm going to be talking to you a lot throughout the season, but I'll still miss you being on the board. Well, I'm not as verbose as a lot of people are. I'm pretty succinct, but I want to say that I'm really here to support GNCC initiatives. Whatever you guys want to do, I like to engage in a discussion and pretty quickly. I'm big on grassroots. GNCC events really tie our community together. The more cross-club pollination we can get, the better. That's what makes curling fun, right? You hang out with people who haven't seen before that could be across the country. And I think that our board is set up more and more that way, bring everybody in from the far regions so that we can all bring together our cultural ideas. And I think it's great. So one of my big goals is to really extend that long-term planning out for our GNC events. I thought it's great. And maybe if he wants to help organize some sort of long-term rotation, I think it's entirely doable. I just need to talk a little bit more to the clubs and get them on board. We know what all of our dedicated ice looks like, and we should be able to build out a tentative schedule. To that goal, we did produce a long-term planning, which is on our website now, and I would like to be able to fill that out like 2 to 3 years in advance so that people can see exactly what we're planning and what we're trying to do. I mean, things happen. This is going to be especially challenging for this next season because I'm sure everyone's expecting a revamp of COVID and don't want. But I think it's good to get these planned out so everyone knows and they can plan. And there's been a lot of great ideas. Even Dorothy Roach had the great idea to maybe split up the 500ers because they are getting a bit wieldy. But that's something that I intend to work on this year. Another thing that I just wanted to say is that I want to embrace communication technology. Jay has done a great job on Between the Sheets. Matt and Dan, I think you've done a great job on this Zoom session. One of the challenges of getting a meeting together like this is just we're like a third of the country trying to get everyone together in one spot. I'm not sure that we should ever get rid of the Zoom functionality, but I think we should maybe try to achieve a combination of both. So I would definitely love to get people's feedback on the Zoom meeting format because I live in biotech, right? So this is I live now. The world is changing. We're not going to be congregating in groups as much as we were before. I think this is going to be more the way the world's turning. And yeah, and I like to just emphasize that I really want to make the GNCC website the one source of information. That's where people can go. I want to get people comfortable logging on to the website, and you can go on and you can see every club and all the representatives of the club and their email addresses. So we could all, in a sense, just be in constant communication. And really, in order to make that happen, I want to emphasize to all the clubs that we need to get the right email addresses in there for your club representatives, for your presidents, so that they are receiving the emails. I think Dorothy Roach had an issue. I'm not sure that it's been corrected yet, but she had the Hotmail address in there rather than the Gmail address that she uses more, getting as many emails or
Uh-oh.
Benji just froze up.
I will chat with him and see if we can get this. We'll see if he responds to that. He may have to go out the meeting, come back in, as he was talking about how good the technology is.
Yeah.
I think we did lose him, so that's good. He'll probably try to come right back in.
He just sent me a text that he's trying to reconnect.
Okay.
Charlie?
Yeah.
While we have a break, I just want to give you an update. I think I've identified everybody who has registered as a rep. We have 45 clubs represented, roughly 5,500 of our members in those clubs.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Benj says he's trying to reconnect. I saw a couple of texts or a couple of chats come across with some questions. Yes, quotes will be taking place. Trying to figure out when and where to do that. But as Gwen has pointed out, that's a long-standing tradition. We'd hate to see that interrupted this year, but we will find a way to keep that tradition alive. Matt or Dan, any other chat item, text that are coming in that I could address?
There's definitely a lot of support for continuing to do virtual meetings or have a virtual option even when we go back to live meetings, even after the pandemic is over.
Yeah. Okay, I saw one come in from Joel about, will there be a fall meeting? Joel, I can't answer that. That's up to the new leadership team.
There's also support for uploading recordings of the meetings after the fact. So if people could not attend, they can watch it later.
Oh, speaking of that, yeah, I needed to mention this on step one, and I apologize. Dan, I believe we did record this event.
We are recording it.
Right, so that will be available going forward. Okay, Dan.
Here comes Ben. Okay, I've unmuted him. He should be connecting.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, right in the middle of my speech where I was talking about embracing technology and moving forward, how this was going to be the new future, my internet failed. So that's just a disheartening start for my chairmanship. How far did I get through my speech before I froze up?
So Benj, we got to having updated emails from everybody.
Oh, that's pretty much the end. I didn't have too much more to say than that. Just make sure the emails are updated. And that the process is, of course, when you put in your club dues, the treasurer or whoever does it, all those email addresses, fill out the form, make sure that everyone is in constant contact, and that's how we will move together. Especially as GNC grows, it's important to have that one source of information to contact, which is, I think we should focus on the GNCC site. And that's really all I had to say before I was kicked out. Thanks for waiting for me to get back. And then I just asked for any questions. I think Joel has a question.
Yeah, there's just some chatter in the chat about virtual versus in-person networking. There's definitely support for having both at the same time, I think, is the general consensus.
Benj, I know Joel is asking, will you be having a fall meeting? And he asked that previous while you were out, and I said, I can't answer that. That's up to you and the team.
I'll definitely be having a fall meeting. I was leaning towards a virtual meeting, just because it could be easy, but we'll discuss it at our next board meeting. We all owe Charlie a drink, that's for sure. And Coits, Mary brings up a good point. Coits, obviously, if we can't have a virtual Coits, so that is we need to keep the Coits going. We're gonna have to put some thought into that. I'm sure that Gwen will have some great ideas. And oh yeah, I think actually I made a comment that Sam Williams was looking for someone to Zoom bomb me before I cut out. So I suspect maybe I was hacked on purpose. And okay, well, I guess it looks like we've had a great meeting. I want to thank Charlie for organizing it and all of this time that he put in. I think everyone did a great job. Matt, Dan, Jay. It was fun. If we don't have any more questions, I think we can maybe move to adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any second? All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone not in favor?
You can stay on.
The last call for abstentions. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Stay
it's been great.
safe.
Yeah.
Ben, hope to see you at Schenectady.
Oh, I'll be there. I need to get my hat.
Roger that. You're moving up.
Good luck, all.
Stay safe, everybody.